know, so you have, if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Got to keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Well, that did not age well. P. Diddy, the guy who brought us Bad Boy Records and some of the biggest hits of 2000s, has been living a double life that we had no clue about. I mean, all we knew is that the guy liked to party, but now there are stories coming out between freak-off parties and, wait for it, a tunnel from his house to Michael Jackson's house. I did not have that on my 2024 bingo card. I mean, who really would have expected it? There's deaths being linked back to him, such as Tupac and Biggie, and other very large people in the industry, but we'll talk about that later. But what P. Diddy is known for is throwing these huge VIP parties. He basically invented the term VIP access, but apparently these parties weren't just no regular parties. We're talking about exclusive invite-only freak-off parties that you would hear straight out of a reality show that you didn't want your parents to know that you watched. So yeah, Diddy's reputation has taken a bit of a hit recently, especially with former partygoers spilling all the details. I mean, this guy was running these parties like some sort of social experiment, and if you didn't leave questioning reality and traumatized, did you even go? And yeah, if these parties weren't enough, we have this tunnel leading from his house to Michael Jackson's house. Like, this stuff is straight out of a movie. Now, I'm not saying this is 100% true, but just imagine Diddy and Michael Jackson strolling through this tunnel talking about hitting up a party tonight. But like, how do we not know about this stuff until now? If there's really a tunnel from his house to Michael Jackson's house, how are we now just finding this out, and why is there like no information about it? But wait, there's more. People close to Diddy, such as ex-assistants, ex-friends, and maybe even the pizza guy, have come forward about these parties, making them sound like straight just weird Hollywood stuff, and also just borderline cultish. Apparently these weren't just no regular parties though. These were put together events with their own specific agenda. And if you weren't ready for it, then you were in for a surprise. So Diddy's been known for throwing these parties since the 90s, back when he was just known as Puff Daddy, the Bad Boy Records guy, but somewhere along the line, these parties turned into freak-offs. People started saying that these weren't just ordinary parties, that they were themes. People wore all kinds of crazy looking outfits, but some guests would leave with stories that they didn't exactly want to share. Guests were like, this wasn't just your average night, this was a full experience. Apparently, Diddy even had a code of conduct for these parties. If you're thinking that that's a little overboard for these freak-offs, you're right. Overall, these parties were just weird, and honestly, there's not too much information out there about them, but I'm sure more will come out in the future. Alright, so let's go to the tunnel. Apparently there's a legendary rumor that Diddy's house and Michael Jackson's house were connected by an underground tunnel. Yeah, you heard me right. A legit secret passageway. So this tunnel ran from Diddy's mansion to Michael Jackson's estate. The story goes is that they used this tunnel to get away from press or even throw their own private parties. Now there's no paparazzi photos of this tunnel, obviously, or else it wouldn't be secret. Now do we know this as a fact? Not really. But if Diddy's freak-off parties are real, why not a tunnel? I mean, this dude's life was already crazy enough that honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if he had a teleportation pod in his hands. Guess that these parties have been talking, and their stories are what you'd expect if you'd mixed Gossip Girl and Game of Thrones. And remember how I talked about cultish activities going on? Some partygoers even talked about weird rituals that Diddy would lead. I'm talking candles, chants, and just an intense vibe. That sounded like Diddy might have thought he was running his own secret society. So according to these guests, you didn't just show up to mingle. There were all these sections, almost like a choose-your-own-adventure book. People said the deeper you got into these parties, the weirder it got.
I live right next to him. He do too much. It be like buses, like big ass buses. You just see all type of shit hop out.
And the freak-off rooms, let's just say they weren't for the faint of heart. And remember the tunnel? Allegedly, there are exits going into these themed rooms. So if you're in the right room at the right time, you'd catch Michael Jackson himself sliding into the party. But there were multiple occasions where Diddy would invite young celebrities to come to his house and hang out with him. But everyone kind of looked over it. And now that Diddy got arrested, everyone's starting to question, including myself, what happened those nights. Like, here's a clip of Justin Bieber before.
I mean, I'm 15, you could ride in the passenger seat. I got my permit. Not yet.
And after.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me. And
also, here's a clip of Usher and what he had to say about it.
and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to
City.
something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go. Hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
And that just goes to show the kind of stuff that goes down at Diddy's house. At the end of the day, we'll probably never know the full truth. Diddy's got too many connections and too much money. And apparently too many tunnels to let everything come out. But whether you believe these stories or not, one thing's for sure, Diddy will go down in hip-hop history for more reasons than just his music. Would you go to one of Diddy's parties if you got an invite? And what do you think about the tunnel theory? Is it legit, or do you think it's just another rumor? Hit that like button and subscribe for more hip-hop mysteries. Then I'll catch you on the next video.
If you hand me that shit, I'ma blame you. Mama never knew I was a drug dealer. Sell a pack like Kodak, man, we getting Skrilla. Got some woods up the road, man, they cold killer.